Trapped Games, Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening. Originally released in the summer of 1993 for the original Game Boy. Later being remastered for the Game Boy Color in 1998, which is the version of the game that is being used here. And yes, while Nintendo has made an enhanced remake for the Switch of Link's Awakening, this original version, and later DX version, are not available currently. The Game Boy Color DX version was available on the 3DS eShop, but as the 3DS eShop is no more, it is currently unavailable. And that is a true shame, as despite being released on the humble Game Boy, it was a full-fledged Zelda experience, easily on par with the Super Nintendo's Link to the Past. Which is apparently what this game started life as, a demake of Link to the Past for the Game Boy. But rather than a demake, it went off in its own creative direction, making it one of the most unique Zelda titles ever released. As despite having the moniker of Legend of Zelda, there is actually no Princess Zelda anywhere in this game. There is also no Triforce, no Ganon, no Hyrule, and no sages to speak of. Instead, we are on an island that apparently has no contact with the outside world, despite somehow all speaking the same language as Link, and items in the dungeons being highly reminiscent of items you find in Hyrule. On this island, on its highest peak, is a giant egg containing the seeming god of this island, known as the Windfish. Link discovers that to get off of this island, he needs to collect 8 instruments from 8 dungeons, to play a song, to hatch that egg, and wake the Windfish. And as he goes on this adventure, he will discover that doing so will almost certainly erase this island from existence, along with everything on the island, which does lead to some ethical questions about what Link is ultimately doing on this island. But being a Game Boy game, these weren't addressed. But what you do have here is a surprisingly large world, with a lot of charming details, and a ton of little secrets to find here and there. This was the first Zelda game to have a trading sequence in it, the first top-down Zelda to have a jumping mechanic, and before each of the dungeons there is some other puzzle or mini-adventure to have before you can access the dungeon. Meaning you never get to go on autopilot, just going from dungeon to dungeon. You will often need to thoroughly explore areas to potentially find items to unlock the way forward. Before the very first dungeon, you need to explore the woods to find a mushroom to make magic powder that you use on a talking raccoon so you can get the key to go into the first dungeon. And that very much sets the tone for the rest of the game. There are also optional mini-games to play, and a hunt for seashells you can do if you want a better sword. This really did push the limits of what the Game Boy was capable of. But why is it unavailable today? Well, by the time this video goes up, it will be impossible to add funds to the 3DS eShop, where you could formerly buy this title for $6. And despite the 3DS eShop going away with a lot of Game Boy titles, there has yet to be a way to play old Game Boy and Game Boy Color titles on the Switch. There are rumors of Game Boy and Game Boy Color and even Game Boy Advance being added to Nintendo Switch Online, but that is only rumors. There has been no confirmation that will happen, and I doubt that it will ever happen. For whatever reason, Nintendo seems almost ashamed of its handheld output, and that is something I find tragic and confusing. This might very well be the best game that was ever released on the Game Boy, and while I enjoy that enhanced Switch version, I do think the original, or at least Game Boy Color version, should be available to play. Ideally, they would have been unlockable bonuses in the new Switch version, except that didn't happen. These are quality games that I just wish were available for people to play currently. Please do like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends.